Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. It's wonderful time. It's a wonderful time of the year just to be able to talk about the next level Cougars. This is our new venture that we're doing. I am the athletic coordinator over recruiting eligibility. My name is Morris Mitchell, and we're talking about the goat in the room, just the goat in the room. We're talking about getting our kids into school and being able to go and play their respective sports at the next level. All right. So just a short introduction about myself. My name is Morris Mitchell. I have a sports communications Bachelor of Arts from Shorter University, and I also have a Master of Arts in Special Education from the University of West Georgia. I played football at the University of Shorter. I played 2.5 years there. Before there, I was at West Hills Community College in California. So I know a little bit about recruiting because I went through it twice. Okay, so my vision is to provide the recruiting essentials for each family with a student athlete at Alexander High School. Okay, uh, i.e., NCAA courses, NCAA eligibility center, ACT, SAT prep, SAT dates, duties of the students and the parents, and then the number of scholarships per sport. Okay, I'm just trying to work with you all so that we all can advocate for our children so that they can be able to go do what they dreamed that they could always do. Scholarships. General information about scholarships. So usually whenever you see those Power Five schools, such as the University of Georgia on a on a Saturday night, SVS schools, they have 85 players on that sideline with scholarships. They're full ride school full scholarships. So everything they have is paid for. Okay. So say we're talking about the FCS level. This is our Kennesaw States of the world. This is they have 63 players on their rosters with full ride scholarships. Division 2 is where it starts getting tricky. So I went to a Division 2 school. So I'll go ahead and use Shorter as an example. At Shorter, we had 36 full scholarships. Now, mind you, there's 120 football players on campus. So how are these coaches going to be able to get 36 full scholarships to stretch out to 120 people? They start cutting the money to be able to make sure that everybody has a piece or their quality players have a piece. Okay. And at Division 3, there's no athletic aid. There's no athletic aid in Division 3, and there's also no athletic aid at NAIA schools. But they do what they can to be able to make sure that those athletes have great academic packages so that so that their money is taken care of. Okay, so let's talk about men's scholarships. Okay, men's scholarships basically they run this way. All right. So with basketball, there are 13 scholarships on the Division 1 roster. Okay, they roughly have about 22 to 23 kids uh, that come to their school to be able to play basketball. Now, those other 10 that are on the roster, two of them are probably going to sit the bench the whole year, and they're going to be preferred walk-ons. Or you're going to have kids that walk on and just want to be a part of the program, or guys that are trying to earn scholarship money. At the Division 2 level, since we're still talking about basketball, there are 10 scholarships per NCAA team. All right. So at the Division 2 level, there's 10 guys that are on scholarship. Now, mind you, they're probably trying to stretch that money out a little bit more so that they're able to bring more quality of players to their school. All right. Let's go down to lacrosse. Say lacrosse. We don't have this at Alexander, but let's talk about lacrosse anyway. For lacrosse, there are 12.6 scholarships at a Division 1 school. So those Dukes, those Syracuse teams that we always saw that were so dominant. Then at Division 2, at Shorter, there were 10.8 scholarships, and they have a roster of you know, maybe 20 people. So they're chopping that money to be able to make sure that they can give everybody a piece of the pie. All right, let's talk about women's scholarships. Women's scholarship limits consist of this. So let's talk about softball. Softball has 12 Division 1 scholarships. There are roughly maybe about 15, 18 young ladies on the roster. So they're trying to do as much as they can to be able to make sure that money stretches the way it needs to. At the Division 2 level, softball has 7.2. Now that money's even thinner. So now we're having to find more things, more financial aid, more Pell Grant, more things of that nature to be able to make sure that these kids' financial package or is where it needs to be. Um, let's even go to another sport. Let's say volleyball. Volleyball at the Division II level has 8 scholarships, 8 of them, 8 scholarships. They have 12 at the Division I level. So those teams roughly have about 20 to 22 people on them. So you have to figure out how to be able to make sure this money can be divvied out. That's what the colleges are looking at each and every year. That's why they say that a college education is an investment. They're looking at it from a business standpoint on the college end of, hey, I'm investing this money into your child. Can they do what they need to do for the next 4 years to be able to make sure that we could get good back on our investment? Okay. Some of the misconceptions and realities. All right. Overall high school to NCAA is what I really want to look at. Okay, the percentage of, let's say, volleyball, women's volleyball players going on to go play uh, college volleyball is 3.9%. Okay, so you're the upper echelon of the upper echelon of high school if you're going over to go play collegiate sports. All right, that makes sense. So let's look at men's basketball. 3.5% of players that play high school basketball go on to go play in college. Okay, it's the reality of the stigma. All right, it sucks. Everybody wants to be able to go play college at their in their given sport, but sometimes what you think is your given sport or your best sport might not be your best sport for you to go play college. So that's why we have to be able to make sure that each roadmap is made for each and every kid specifically for their college success, and that's what I'm here for. All right. So first off, this is what we're going to talk about: NCAA courses. This is the foundation of what we're trying to get to. Okay, these classes that are NCAA courses include English 1 through 4. Okay, American Lit and Creative Writing. These are English courses that you can take to be able to be NCAA eligible. So, for example, English 1 through 4, just to be able to make that a little bit clearer for everyone. Um, Ninth grade lit, 10th grade lit, British lit, and you have American lit. Those are 4 literature classes. You have four literature classes that will make you NCAA eligible. And just to be able to help you out, you have creative writing to be able to throw in there as well. All right. Uh, Algebra, math. You have to have four content areas of math. So you have to have algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2. You either take algebra 3 or pre-cal or statistics. Okay, those are 5 classes you can choose from in order to still be NCAA eligible. Natural physical science. Now you need to have biology, chemistry, and physics to make sure that you're NCAA eligible. All right. And social science, American history. You have to have civics. You have to have government. You have to have world history. Those are 4 classes at Alexander High School that will help you become NCAA eligible. All right. And then in your additional category, you can take a foreign language such as Spanish 1, Spanish 2, or a French 1 and French 2 to be able to make sure that you're NCAA eligible. Non-acceptable courses. Non-acceptable courses are as follows: classes in non-core areas, fine arts or vocational classes such as driver's ed, typing, art, music, physical education, or welding. Personal skill classes such as personal finance or community consumer education. Classes taught below grade level at a slower pace from everybody else, from the rigor that is found within schools, or the classes that are not academic in nature, such as film preparation, appreciation, video editing, or greenhouse management. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the granddaddy of them all. The granddaddy of them all. This is where most people don't understand college recruiting. So my child is very good at what she does. She's a great softball player. She's going to exposure tournaments. She's doing all that she can do. She's hitting three dingers a night. She's playing center field. She's catching balls out of the air before they go out, and she's roaming that center field. But she's not getting recruited. Why is my child not getting recruited? Well, this would be the first question I ask for you. Is your daughter part of the NCAA eligibility center? Okay. This is one thing that I know from my own experience. My mother didn't know about NCAA eligibility center until I was a senior in high school. By that point, it's getting nuts. It's getting nitty gritty. It's down to crunch time. So right now, you have to figure out, how can I get a part of NCAA eligibility center? So eligibility center is very simple. You click on this link, and from this link, you will go on to eligibility center to be able to make sure that you can be able to put it forth the personal information, the date of birth, the things of that nature that your child needs to be able to be in that forum. Okay. Within that forum, each and every college coach will be able to see what your child is about, whether it be her transcript, her grades, her if she's NCAA eligible, things of that nature. So this is where it helps you. Eligibility center is very simple. So if a college coach came up to you and your daughter and said, "Hey, I like the way your daughter plays. Is there anything that I can do for her? Or I would like to see if she can come to our school." The first thing she's going to do, he or she, that recruiter is going to do, is ask, "What is your child's name?" Okay. Once they figure out your child's name, they're going to go to eligibility center. Once they go to eligibility center, they see that they're part of eligibility center. Now they can take the next step forward and continue the recruitment. Okay. Most people shoot down their recruitment because your kid is killing it on the field. Your child is killing it on the court. But guess what? They're not a part of eligibility center. So how are they able to recruit you? Okay. Next is the SAT and SATs. These dates are as follows. You need to be able to monitor these dates to be able to make sure that your child is registered for an ACT or SAT. Okay. Because what they need is this test score to be able to make sure that they're going to the next level. Mind you, that COVID has messed up a lot of what's going on right now. But for our juniors and our sophomores, you still need to be able to take these tests, because these tests will be invalid. They will be valid towards your college recruitment. All right. Here are your dates for the ACT as well. All right. Make sure that you register for them. I advise for my fall athletes to take your ACT or your SAT in the spring. My spring athletes and my winter athletes, I advise for you all to take your ACT or the SAT during the fall. Why? Because I took the ACT when I was in high school as a senior in the fall. I played on a Friday night, and I had to come take a test the next morning. That was very tough. Waking up, I'm dreary, I'm dry, I'm tired from the night before, and I didn't do as well as I could have because my mind wasn't ready to be able to take the test, because I had given it everything that I had the night before. Okay, now let's talk about the fee waiver. Some of us are lucky enough to be able to get the fee waiver. Okay, such as you have to fall underneath these categories. You are enrolled in a program for economic disadvantage, such as AVID or TRIO. Your family's annual income falls within the levels listed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture for free or reduced price lunches. Your family receives public assistance. Your family also lives in federally subsidized public housing, and you as a child live in a foster home. Okay. For the ACT, it's quite the same, unless you have these other categories that you fall under. You are a ward of the state, you are homeless, and those things will help you be able to make sure that you are able to take the ACT for free or the SAT for free. NCAA. Right here on this portion of our slideshow, we're going to talk about the NCAA sliding scale and how the sliding scale works. Now, a lot of you are probably asking, what's the sliding scale? Well, let me show you. The sliding scale basically just shows how your GPA can make sure that your test score correlates with your GPA. So let's say I have a 3.375. come in my senior year in high school and I need to take the ACT or the SAT. Well, if I was to take the SAT, all I would have to do is make a 500 on the SAT. That's manageable. Okay. Or my ACT sum would have to be a 42. Okay. And for the ACT, you just have to make a 42 on the three parts that they combine together for that score. That's fairly manageable. So I'm telling you right now, for you athletes that are sitting here listening to this video, the higher your GPA, the less work you're going to have to do on the test. The lower your GPA, you have to make higher on the test. So for example, let's look at the Division I scale for 2.225. I had to make a 10-10 on the SAT to be able to make sure that I'm NCAA eligible. My ACT sum has to be a 78. I have to do more work. So if I'm struggling in class, if I'm struggling to be able to make sure that I do what I need to do to be able to become NCAA eligible, man, now I got to do more work on the test. Now I got to wake up on a Saturday and really be on my P's and Q's. Whereas the child that has a 3.375, they're sitting back like, man, all I got to do is just come in, make sure I do what I need to do, and there's not as much pressure as a child. If you do what you need to do in the classroom, you're creating less pressure for yourself in every other avenue of your life. Division two also has a full qualifier scale. Okay, for the full qualifier, say if you make a 2.25, all you have to do is make a 910 on the SAT. And your ACT sum must be a 69. All right. Now partial qualifiers, these are the children that aren't fully qualified to be able to go to the Division I school. For a 3.025, you have to make a 410 and a 38 ACT. Certification of amateurism. Your certification of amateurism it's meant for seniors. For the seniors, on April 1st, we're all going to log on and make sure that you do your certification of amateurism. Your certification of amateurism comes as follows. These are kids who are not playing as professionals. Okay, so if you're getting paid to play your high school sport, you're considered a professional. If you've signed a contract with a professional team, you are considered a professional. If you're participating in trials or practices with a professional team, you are considered a professional, even if you aren't getting paid. If you're receiving payment or preferential treatment, benefits for playing sports, you are considered a professional. Okay, this could jeopardize you going to college. So, for example, everybody's heard about the Cam Newton story when he was at Auburn, about when he was at Auburn and Mississippi State paid for his father's church and things of that nature. If that would have came to fruition, if that would have been known as true, Cam would have had to forego his time in college to become a professional. He could no longer play. You're starting to see it a lot in basketball too. There's been plenty of basketball teams that have been caught up with giving improper benefits. You don't want to be caught up with improper benefits because then you're no longer able to play the sport that you love. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't know about the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. This is also known as NAIA. Okay. NAIA is a whole other sports platform that has mostly private schools, but there are public schools in NAIA, in the NAIA division. Okay. These schools also are able to give our kids an opportunity to be able to go play collegiate sports in their given sport. Okay. NAIA requirements. After May 1st of 2019, athletes must get either an 18 on the ACT or a 970 on the SAT. Athletes must have the testing centers send their scores directly to the NAIA using the code 9876. Okay. You also must achieve between a 2.0 and a 2.0. You must receive an overall high school grade point average of a 2.0 or higher on a 4.0 scale. Athletes need to send their official transcripts to NAIA either via the high school portal or a hard copy in the mail. You also must graduate in the top half of your class. So in the top 50% of your class, you must graduate in order to be eligible to play NAIA or the NAIA sports. That NAIA also has an eligibility center. Okay, NAIA has their own eligibility center. So if you are starting to get recruited by NAIA schools, you need to go ahead and start getting enlisted into their eligibility center. or just go ahead and start doing it now. So when those schools call you, they can be able to help you out. All right. They can be able to tell you what your package is going to be and how things are going to work out for you. For us parents, I understand this is a lot of information, but there are a lot of things that you can go ahead and do, even for our younger parents, our ninth and 10th grade parents, so that your kids are set up on this roadmap for success to be able to become a next level Cougar. Duties of the parent. You must be involved in your child's course load. Okay. Make sure that your kids are taking the NCAA required courses, because as children, they're going to take what they want. The girls are going to go into a class with their boyfriends. The boys are going to go into the class with the cutest girl in there. They're going to go take the easier routes. They're not going to take the courses that are meant for them to be able to make them be successful. Okay. So parents, please be involved with with your child's course load. Make sure that your child is passing his or her classes with at least a B. If they pass with at least a B, there's no issue. Now they're coming into the NCAA. Oh, now they're coming into the ACT or the ACT with at least a 3.0 GPA. At least a 3.0 GPA. Also, parents, I recommend that you have a good conversation with their coach. Set up a meeting, set up a time that you can understand, like, ask the coach, what are you seeing on a daily basis? Because if my child isn't telling me all of the whole truth, they're not telling, they feel like they're not playing enough, or they're playing the best that they can be, but where can they get better? What can they improve on? Okay. Then after that conversation, have an honest conversation with your child and let them know their abilities and what they need to improve on, and ask your child, how can I help you become more successful? And I'll get to that here at the bottom. Also, do your research on the schools that recruit you. If I'm a parent and Mississippi State contacts my child, contacts my son to be able to play wide receiver at the University at Mississippi State, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go research that school. I'm going to see how many receivers they have on the roster, and I'm going to see how many of the receivers are playing in the game. If my son is a wide receiver and they're only playing two wide receivers in the game, that means there's only two spots for him to be able to play. Whereas the University of Oregon is going five wide, they got five receivers on the field at all times. I'm gonna talk to my son and be like, well, if Oregon calls us, we're gonna really give them a look. Okay. Also, like I interluded into earlier, invest in your child's collegiate future. Okay. Exposure camps, training, tutoring, NCAA Eligibility Center, ACT, SAT prep if your child needs it. Invest in your child's future so that he or she has exactly what they need in order to be successful. Okay. Exposure camps. Talk to your coaches and see who is going to be at these exposure camps. Talk to the coaches that you know, that you entrust, and ask them, hey, do you know if Kennesaw State is going to be at this camp? Because this is where my child wants to go. Do you know if Georgia State is going to be at this camp? Do you know if Albany State is going to be at this camp? Do you know if Howard University is going to be at this camp? All right. Training. Make sure if your child is going to do a sport, make sure that they're doing the proper things in order to be able to be good at that sport. I'm not saying to go out and kill them, and make sure that they're training 3 to 5 times a week. They don't have to. Okay. But if you're doing all that you can do to be able to make sure that they're successful, it will definitely help them out. Tutoring. If your child is struggling in the class, find them a tutor. Find them a tutor and help them be able to understand more about that class. NCAA Eligibility Center. There's a price that comes with NCAA Eligibility Center. Roughly, it's around $80 to $90 to be able to be a part of Eligibility Center. But once you certify them in Eligibility Center, they're done. That money is taken care of. And if there's ACT and SAT courses that they can take outside of Alexander High School, allow them to be able to take those if they need more help. Now, the student athletes, y'all also have a job, and y'all got to take it seriously. If you really want to do this at the next level, they always told us when we became collegiate athletes, hey, this is a job. Okay. So you thinking that you're going to just go to college and goof off and things of that nature? No, but you need to start thinking of yourself as a business now. So take every class serious. The higher your GPA, the more money that you will obtain, especially at those lower level schools, at those Division II, Division III, NAIA schools, where it's not guaranteed full ride scholarships, or there's enough to go around, you need to make sure that your GPA is high enough. So if your GPA is high enough to be able to get in or even exceeds that, you're going to receive more academic aid. Okay. The higher your GPA, the more money you will get and the less work you're going to have to do on those tests when they come. Okay. Second, your character is key. Do what is right when no one's watching. Do what is right when no one's watching. So if that means that I can't hang out with my friends that go out on the weekends and party and do all that jazz, don't. Because the last thing you want to do is be characterized by what someone else is doing around you. Remember, perception is reality. So whatever someone thinks of you, if a recruiter comes in and thinks, oh, she's a hothead, she has an attitude, he's more than likely not going to recruit you. Okay. Social media can make or break you. Remember, watch what you post on social media because everyone's watching. Not only are the recruiters watching, but the school is watching, the county office is watching, the people that look up to you are watching you. There's always somebody out there watching you. Live as if someone's always watching you and make sure that your best foot is always forward. College coaches are looking for well-rounded athletes as well. Just to top this off, they're looking for kids who are strong, explosive, and fast. They want to see that you lift weights, young ladies and young men. They want to see that you are explosive and you have a bounce off the floor or off the field whenever you run or whenever you jump. They also want to see if you play multiple sports or in other activities. For example, when I was in high school, I played football, I played basketball, I ran track, I played baseball. I was also part of the drama club, FBLA, and I was on the yearbook staff. Those are 7 activities that I was a part of. So each coach that recruited me knew I was a well-rounded person and that I had been around plenty of people. And I knew how to be able to interact in different environments. Don't always be with your friends who play sports. Try to go be around those kids who are in fine arts. Go try to do things outside of your sports because most of the time, I'll kid you not. I talked to a coach on Friday night. He coaches at Kennesaw State. He asked me about a football player here at Alexander High School. He said, "Does he play basketball?" I said, "No, sir, he doesn't." He said, "Dang, man, we're looking for 2 sport athletes." I said, "Well, all I can do is talk to him and make sure that he does it this year." So, and one thing to realize to your student athletes that us coaches, us high school coaches, are not going to tell a fib for you. We're not going to lie for you because 1, that's my name on the line if you don't turn out the way you need to. And 2, if I haven't seen it from you, I can't tell a coach that you will do it. Okay. So make sure that you're not making a liar out of your coaches or making them have to stretch the truth or jeopardize their character or their integrity for you. All right. So COVID-19 has changed everything. It's changed the whole game for everybody in the world. So for us seniors, we have to be able to adjust like we always have. The Cougar way is not to complain. Is not to do all the extras and be woe is me. No, we're going to take it head on and we're going to do what we need to do. So COVID-19 automatic criteria waiver for the 2021-22 enrollment. To be a full qualifier, you need to have 10 core courses in 7 semesters. 16 core courses units required. 16 core courses or units are required in order to graduate. You need to have a greater than a 2.3 core GPA as well, and then you have to have proof of graduation. So at the Division II level, you don't need the 10 courses at 7 semesters. All you need is the 16 core units in order to graduate. Higher than a 2.2 core GPA and the proof of graduation. An early academic qualifier, pre-7th semester, you need to have 14 core units in required subject areas and a higher than a 3.0 GPA. In order to be a pre-qualifier for the Division II level, you need to have 14 core units in required subject areas and a 2.5 GPA. All right, core GPA. Now, core GPA are just those English, math, science, social science, and that foreign language are fine, or the foreign language. So those are your five areas that you have to have a core GPA higher than a 3.0 or 2.5. Okay, for an academic redshirt, you have to complete academic record of 16 core units in the required subject area, higher than a 2.0 and a proof of graduation. Now this makes it to where when you walk in on day 1, I'm redshirting for that first year. Okay, all I'm doing is practicing for that first year. All right, and then a partial qualifier, complete academic record. 16 core courses, core course units in required subject areas and higher than a 2.0 GPA and proof of graduation. This is only at the Division II level. So both of these, the academic and partial qualifier, will make sure that you're redshirted that very first year. All right. So this is to the end of my presentation. If you ever need anything from parents that ask questions, the student athletes that need to be able to get in touch to be able to see like, well, how can I get my transcript? What do I need to be able to be NCAA eligible? Have I done all the correct things? Please give me a contact. My contact number is 559-970-6244. And my email is morris.mitchell@dcssga.org. So I'm going to escape this. And I just hope that each and every one of you have enjoyed this presentation. I've enjoyed being able to give you all this information. I will be at the games, being able to help wherever I can to be able to make sure that our athletes are getting the best help that they can. Remember, we're all advocates for our children. So always do what you can do to be able to help one. Because if we help one, we're helping them all. All right. So this is Morris Mitchell signing off. We can't wait to create more next level Cougars and have a great and wonderful day.